Hey everyone, and welcome to The Year Was, the podcast all about today that gives you just enough information to effectively be that guy at the party, causing all your friends to question, hey, who invited you? Like, seriously, why are you here? I'm your host, Michael Montalvo, and for the next few minutes we will swim through the river of time to try and find out what makes today truly unique. In this episode, we examine the events that occurred February 2nd. If you will allow me, please enjoy this dramatic reading. Who is that? Who is that? Emerging from his burrow? Who can see today what we won't see until tomorrow? Shaman of the shadows. Springer of the spring. Is it a squirrel? Is it a beaver? Kind of both, but not quite either. That's right, woodchuck chuckers, we're talking about Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day as a day falls between the winter solstice and the spring equinox, which is a fancy way of saying that it's the time right after winter and just before spring. What's interesting here, in the same way as Christmas and other holidays/rituals, is that it was changed by Christianity. February 2nd was once known and celebrated as Imbolc, which was a pagan festival celebrating spring. But as the internet tells it, in my many minutes of research, it would soon have a different name as it began to spread throughout the European landscape, and soon it became known as the Candlemas. The Germans in particular adopted the practice of allowing small animals such as hedgehogs and badgers to predict the weather. So why was it called Candlemas? Well, candles were lit, and the length of time they took to burn represented how long and cold the winter would be. And then a funny thing happened on the way to America. As German settlers made their way to America, they brought with them all of their customs and traditions, and among those was the Candlemas celebration. This time, however, they chose a native animal to predict the weather, and that animal was, of course, the groundhog. Let's jump ahead a bit to 1886, and it was in this year that the first mention of Groundhog's Day made it into the paper, and in the following year, the year was 1887, and on this day, February 2nd, the first official Groundhog Day celebration was held in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. Two quick things to note. First, get ready to hear me struggle with the word February all month in a way that doesn't sound forced or like I struggled with it. And second, this was the first time that I spelled Pennsylvania without needing to look it up or use a spell check. On February 2nd, 1887, a crowd gathered at Gobbler's Knob, and the one and only Punxsutawney Phil was introduced to the world. More on that in a bit. Phil predicted the weather, and then it happened again the next year, and the year after, and the year after that, and the year after that. For almost a century, Groundhog Day was a small holiday that was held mostly in the western Pennsylvania area. It wasn't until around 1990, according to the article I read, that it started to gain traction and become much more widespread. This was no doubt helped by the 1993 Harold Ramis-directed Groundhog Day, starring Bill Murray and Andy McDowell. These days, people come from all over the world to see the one and only Punxsutawney Phil come out of his burrow to witness the seer of seers either see or not see his shadow. As of this recording, 134 Groundhog Days have passed, and Phil has seen his shadow about 104 times. Let's talk some quick Phil facts. Punxsutawney Phil's handler, A.J. Durham, claims that the Phil of today and the Phil of the future is the same Phil from 1887. This is achieved by having Phil take a secret elixir of life that is made of secret ingredients passed down through generation to generation of handlers, and that presumably only work on groundhogs. Each sip apparently gives him 7 more years. Phil has met former President Reagan and Governor Dick Thornburg. In 1958, Phil announced that the Chuknik satellite beat the Russian Sputnik into space. Punxsutawney Phil is also a movie and TV star, having appeared in the film Groundhog Day, as well as on The Oprah Winfrey Show. And in 2017, Phil and his handlers made the coin toss for Animal Planet's Puppy Bowl. That's going to do it for us today. If you like this podcast and want to hear more, give us a rate and a review. That helps me out and helps steer this in a direction that is hopefully good for all. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can find the Year Was audio version on your podcast app of choice. You can find me on social media and at YouTube at the Apple Cider Club. And as always, I want to thank the Tim Kreitz Band for our musical theme. And thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.